I want her to be real for you. To feel like the real thing so you can go longer before feeling these urges.
You want to help satisfy his needs. Keep him from killing anybody real.
She seems human.
Where am I?
Do you remember my son?
How far are you willing to go for him?
She's more than just a copy. She's remembering who she was.
How many times has he killed me?
In a world where podcasts reign supreme, two friends dare to ask, do you even movie? Hosted by filmmaker Henrique Couto and movie aficionado David D. Neuer. Spoiler alert.
So you're not allowed to have any hair on your body at your job?
No.
That's weird. I feel like that's an OSHA violation.
I'm not going to talk about work on camera, sorry. No, basically, all I was told was that I just need to not wear my hat as much, and that was really about it. But it's mainly just...
I get a hat.
Well,
I mean,
not this. It's my winter hat, basically. Like
I would get any hat being...
Yeah,
like,
no, I get it,
hat,
yeah. But you also have to keep in mind, too, that we only have people in office, like, big time Tuesday through Thursday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, people are in office. And then for the most part, like Mondays and Fridays, not a lot of people in office. But I also have the option to work from home as I can use it too. But the problem is that I have not grown my hair out this long in 15 years. So I'm not used to taking care of it. It's been a good bit. So it's not super easy to just pick it out like I used to. I actually have to kind of like style it a little bit. And that's the hard part. Especially going outside when it's blowing in the wind.
So the problem is laziness.
Yeah, it always is.
Well, this has been a very good session.
Yeah.
I do accept your insurance, thank goodness. So
also, my hair just has a fucking mind of its own, and that's the problem too. Because I used to be able to, when I was in high school, I used to be able to pick it out and just not have to worry about it. The picking it out was basically all I had to do. When I pick it out now, one side wants to stick up, another side wants to stick that way, or this side's a little flatter. So it's like I have to work on it a little longer than I'm used to.
How do you dry your hair?
I don't.
You're not even a towel.
I mean, that's it. That's literally like I will put a towel through it when I step out of the shower for the most part, and then otherwise than that, I just let it air dry.
Is that how you did it when you were a kid?
Basically, yeah. I mean, I had a hair dryer. I personally didn't have a hair dryer. We had a hair dryer at the house. And it's been so far back, dude. I can't really remember. But
I bet you blew dry your hair a little bit,
but not
probably
not
because
much.
You had to hurry up for school or something. You'd use a blow dryer. You probably didn't use it to style because you're a kid.
No.
All I'm saying is you might be happy if you used a blow dryer.
I don't. The only thing is I don't trust my bathroom much with other electronics right now.
I mean, I don't mean do it while you're taking a bath.
No, I know that. It's more so just I don't how do I put this? There has been some electrical issues in the bathroom recently. That's all I'll say. Like that's the best way I can put that.
I mean, you can plug it in your bedroom.
Yeah, but I also have a mirror in my bathroom that I normally look at, and I have the giant mirror in my bedroom too.
A mirror, your Arab friend who takes care of the bathroom.
Stop. But no, I don't have any outlets by my mirror in my bedroom.
Well, you don't really need a mirror to blow out short curly hair.
Yeah.
I mean, your blow drying routine would probably be less than 5 minutes.
If that.
Because your hair, I mean, although your hair is thick and it is getting a little longer, I mean, my hair to fully blow dry from towel dry doesn't take 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
well, but keep in mind too, I'm not like showering all the time before I go to work. And
we know.
Yeah, I shower usually the night before. So when I go to
every
bed,
day?
I would say every couple days.
Oh, okay.
I shower. I would say as it stands right now, because I usually no offense. I usually shower when I get out of here because the cigar smell is on my clothes. So I've got to be careful with that. And
be careful with that. You're afraid your landlord will smell you?
No, it's not that. It's more so like if I have anything that like if I put my clothes and don't put them in the washer or anything like that, it'll infect my other clothes. And I have a bad habit lately of not putting away clean clothes.
Wear clean clothes anyway.
I do wear clean clothes, goddammit.
Well, but my point is, if you blow dry your hair, generally your hair will stay kind of the way the blow dryer gets your hair to be for days.
Yeah.
So
but I also seldom do I shower before I go to work. I usually shower the night before because
that's my point. Is you can still blow dry.
Still blow dry. Yeah, I get it.
You might be surprised how much more manageable it is because basically the direction your hair dries is the direction it wants to stay. So if you go to sleep with wet hair, you're gonna have some interesting experiences. But if you were to just give yourself a quick blow dry, make sure your hair is dead ass dry before you go to sleep.
Yeah,
it's going to be much more predictable.
Yeah. No,
so
I usually make sure it's as dry as it can be when I lay my head on my pillow, because otherwise you had trouble of getting wet pillow and shit.
Well, but I mean down to the
scalp. No, I know.
Because it'll help a lot more than you might think.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to help. I mean, I started a routine of only blow drying not even that long ago.
Keep in mind, I haven't had to buy one because I kept my hair short for so many years. So
you don't have a blow dryer?
I never bought a blow dryer when I left the house. Like I never had a blow dryer after leaving the house going into college. I didn't even have a blow dryer in college.
Well, that's not surprising. In college, you're basically feral.
I think I used my roommate's blow dryer, to be honest.
Sounds like college.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I have not. I've actually never personally bought a blow dryer.
Well, Davey, you're over 30 now.
Yeah,
it might be time.
We'll see.
Might be time to get yourself a little $13 Con Air. You can think of when you blow it in your face, you can pretend you're Nick Cage.
It's always the way to go with it.
Well, that's why they call it a Con Air.
I'm aware.
Because that moment with Nick Cage. I'm just saying, you might be surprised how much your hair would appreciate the least amount of zhuzhing.
Yeah.
It'd probably really like it. I mean, I would kill to have a curly head of hair like yours. Your hair is fucking ridiculous.
Oh, I love having my curly hair. The problem is, well, let me put it this way. I love having my curly hair during winter. I don't love it when spring and summer hits because it gets real fucking hot up there.
Well, that's why you gotta woof it out.
Yeah.
Because then all the air can get in, or better yet, cornrows.
Cornrows, yeah, there we go.
I would pay good money to get you cornrowed.
That's not happening for one. I literally like almost overheated one time when I was mowing the grass. Like this is like back in would have been like sophomore, maybe even freshman year. I almost overheated one time because it was so hot outside. In between mowing the grass and having my hair and everything, like there was so much sweat coming down from my hair, like it was killing me.
I mean, you know the trick, right?
What?
Wet your hair.
Yeah, you wet your hair.
I mean, no, because the secret weapon, if you're working in the heat and you have long hair, is that you have a big sponge on top of your head. So you pour a little water in it and it keeps you cool for a good while. I've had long hair since I was 14 years old.
I didn't start. So I always had short hair for the most part. It wasn't until I was in 6th grade and I kept missing hair appointments because of baseball practice, because I was in baseball at that point. And I remember
what position
mom.
Did you play?
This is still like rec league. So I mean, I would be center field. I would play third base and occasionally shortstop.
I don't know what any of that means,
Fair.
but I wanted to test you. No, but I was curious.
No, you're good. But yeah, I remember I was walking to the car one day after practice, and my mom is like, she's like, I really like your hair. Like it's growing really well. So like, if you don't want to get your hair cut anytime soon, like we don't have to, like we can get it styled when it needs to, but like.
Does your papa have curly hair?
No, so from what I can understand, I got this from, dad had curly hair up to probably, I think it was about mid-30s or so. So right. I think that's about it. But most of my hair comes from my mom's dad.
Oh, he had a big curly head of hair?
There's a picture of him in track when he was in high school, and he looks exactly like me. Or I look exactly like him, either way.
Look just like your grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. No, I've shown you those creepy pictures of my grandpa, like right when he enlisted in the Navy, he just fucking looks like me. It's so creepy. It's so weird.
Dad definitely did have curly hair though, because I've got a picture on my phone right now of him when I think he was in his like mid-20s, and he looks. I think I've shown it to you. He looks exactly like me.
Yeah, you guys you do favor each other. So, for those who have not seen you or can't see you, and even right now, I mean, you're wearing a hat like a son of a bitch.
I'll take it off briefly.
You what you need sincerely, you just need a blow dryer and a good brush.
Yeah.
And I bet you'd be very pleased.
Yeah, because I mean, I will comb it out as much as I can, but I mainly just stick with my hair pick because that's the easiest way to break it up. You don't use a brush at all? Not really.
Oh, so here's the thing: soft, like you want to get one of those combo hard bristle, soft bristle brushes, because not only for your hair, I bet it would be great. Mine, it's the worst.
Yeah.
The reason soft bristles make your hair so soft is they actually spread the oil to the further parts of your hair, and thereby make you look less oily, unless you're as incredibly oily as I am.
I don't believe I am.
No, I am positive that you are not.
Don't believe I am. But no, I think it's a combination right now that I'm still unsure what I want to do with the hair. A couple of our mutual friends have asked me to keep it till Wasteland, which for those listening, we're recording this about a month exactly from Wasteland.
Cinema Wasteland, the movie expo, for those who don't know.
In Strongsville, Ohio.
Yeah.
So it would be about another month, and I think if I were to let this grow that long, it's going to be pretty crazy by the time we get there. So it's 50-50 right now if I keep that up.
It might not be that crazy if
you
put a little effort in.
This has only been growing since October.
I bet you get yourself like a little coarse hair gel, not like styling gel. It's actually a gel you put in your hair before you blow dry.
Yeah.
That protects it from heat, basically. Yeah. It's kind of like actually like the stuff stunt guys put on their hair to protect, but it's not as strong.
Yeah.
But it helps your hair not fry when you blow dry it. But I'm telling you, I bet you hit it with that brush real good, because the pick is good for maintenance. But not for the initial style.
No, it's not good for presenting. That's the biggest issue right now is like I have my hair pick at work, and it's like I'll pick it out in the bathroom, and it's just like, well, that didn't help at all.
I think you'd be surprised. I bet you'd be surprised how nice it looks.
Yeah.
Plus, then you could sculpt it or have it sculpted and kind of find it. I don't think you look bad with hair, Dave. No. I don't.
No, I don't.
In fact,
I don't dislike it.
Sometimes I have to give like knowing glares to my friends when you're bald headed. Like, it's cool. He's all right.
I don't go bald headed often. I go short. Only rarely do I shave it to the scalp. Only rarely.
Yeah, rarely.
My mom fucking hates it.
Like right after you're done watching American History X, you're like, I don't know why I feel this way.
Not even touching that right now.
I don't know why I feel like I want to dress this way, but I'm just gonna for five
even
minutes,
touching that right now.
Just a minute.
Nope.
I mean, I could have made meaner jokes. I know. I'm just being sweet.
I know.
Was just being cute. So all I'm saying is, I think you should take it from somebody who just recently had to expand my horizons about doing more for my hair than just like letting it sit.
Yeah.
Blow drying brings a lot of life to your hair. A good soft bristle brush won't set you back much money at all. And it'll make it'll probably make it fluffier than you imagined.
Probably.
And you'll probably want to pick it less to let it kind of settle, but you get some coarse hair treatment stuff and you're set. You won't have to do much.
Yeah.
But I bet you'd be happy.
No, I mean, that's like I said at the beginning of the show, I know that I have these struggles because of just pure laziness. I know that for a fact.
The other thing, and I'm not trying to joke.
Yeah.
Is a sleep cap. If you put a little soft nylon-y sleep cap, not like a do-rag, but they have these things they're mostly for keeping braids under control, but that could also help your hair not get super wacky when you sleep on it.
You want to know something probably terrible that I'll admit?
Oh no.
I wouldn't say every night because it hasn't, but a lot, predominantly around wintertime, I usually sleep in a hoodie and I usually have the hood up.
All right.
Yeah.
Put your damn hat back on. You make me sad. I'm kidding. You wear your hair. I don't care how you wear your hair.
It's probably gonna be better if I leave it off right now.
I'll never forget my first job was like, you can wear whatever you want. And then about a year later, they're like, yeah, about that.
I've never gotten like a straight up I've never gotten a dress code issue in regards to hair or anything like that. I've gotten t-shirt issues. I've had dress code issues with that. Not like recently. This is like back in high school. Like I had a shirt that was Hell Michigan, and it was damn you damn university is what it was.
Oh,
I also was at track practice with a Wasp t-shirt that on the back said I fuck like a beast, but I had put a piece of tape over it and written hug.
I got sent home for wearing on top of my clothes a full-size butcher's apron that had Ed Gein's face on it and
my God.
And said the original Wisconsin cannibal.
Wow. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Did you ever get in trouble for your Star Trek outfit?
No.
I didn't think so.
I mean, not by the faculty. I got the crap beat out of me.
Well, yeah.
I mean, is that trouble?
I more so meant dress code violation.
I thought that's what
not
you meant.
coolness violation.
No. Well, I mean, those kids who beat me up were pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
I won't lie.
Yeah.
But no. I mean, I don't know. I just think you should expand your horizons a little bit. You know, I know that, you know, when we talk and there are no cameras, no microphones, you're kind of like, I'm 30, I'm basically dead.
No, that's exactly how I sound.
corpse.
Yep, that's exactly how I sound. No.
But I think you should try it. I think you should grab yourself just the cheapest little hairdryer. It'll be more than enough for what you're doing. You don't need some crazy fancy bull crap. And even the crazy fancy ones are $40. They're not even that bad.
Perfectly honest, I may fucking have one honestly, now that I think about it, because there may be one in some stuff that was left over.
Oh, sure. I didn't want to say you probably have one and don't know it because I didn't want it to end up being one of those Dave Hills.
Well, the problem is I don't know where it is. That's going to be the scavenger hunt portion of the.
I just meant knowing you. Sometimes I'd be like, I bet you have one. Somebody would be like, I really don't, and then it would become this thing where then, by the end of the conversation, you'd be like, actually,
I haven't seen it since I've lived at this current apartment. So if I do still have one, which no, I don't have that one. Never mind. Okay. I just remember something. There was a fire issue with it. Turned it on and smoke came out of it one day.
Yeah, you get a new one.
Yeah,
you know they're not pricey. Yeah. Just grab one at Walmart.
That was back at Crawford Street, the sketchy apartment.
I remember Crawford Street.
I was using it. Yeah, I was using it to dry. Was it paint? I was using it for an art project to dry something. I can't remember if it was paint or if it was something that I'd done. And I had it on, like I had it running for like a good 15 minutes.
Yeah, so modern ones will auto cool.
Yeah.
Occasionally when you run it that hard.
This was a little white one that had brown cord to it, and it had high and low were just the two settings it had.
But they were in Cyrillic, like they're from the Soviet Union.
I just remember turning it on, using it, and then being like, what's that smell? And then looking down and smoke was pouring out of it.
In Soviet Russia, hair dries you.
Yeah.
No, okay, so
yeah, I will price
you've
one
been
out.
hurt by a hair dryer. Now I'm understanding the pain.
I'm trying to think if there's a distinct memory I have of one burning my neck, but I can't remember if it was in my hand or if it was in my sister or my mom's hand.
Of a lover.
In the hand of a lover. No, if it was either my sister's hand or my mom's hand, I can't remember.
I mean, that sounds like your sister.
Yeah, that does sound like my sister.
Come here, Brett. No, all I'm saying is get yourself a hair dryer. Yeah. Even a travel one.
Yeah,
they're cheap. Pardon me. And report back.
Okay.
I think you'd actually be happy about it.
No, so, I mean, that's been the biggest issue is just I don't really know what I want to do appearance wise.
Of course.
So
well, that's always the question, especially when you're not a living cartoon character like I am.
Yeah, that's fair.
Where I just kind of pick a look. It's the only time I actually went, maybe they're right when people were like, you're autistic, aren't you? And I'd be like, no, well, I mean, I did pick one look and kind of stick with it for 20 years.
There's that
overall. But geez.
Yeah, do what you gotta
do. So speaking of surviving in sketchy situations.
Nice segue, bud.
We just went to the theater and we saw a little movie.
Yes. Last Breath from 2025, starring Woody Harrelson, Simu Liu, and Finn Cole.
I like how because of the habit of the show, you gave the year when we went to see it in the theater.
Yeah.
Last Breath from 2021.
Hey,
Doc Brown was nice enough to pick us up in the DeLorean.
Literally just watched Aurora, and I was sad because I was just like, shit, I didn't see this last year because I was, for some reason, thinking that it came out this year. I don't know why.
Well, it would be weird for it to. Well, that was before it won before it sweeped
I think
the
it was
Oscars.
just the availability of it.
It was showing in November.
Yeah.
And it didn't come to the theater you and I go to very often. Also, I would say you were tepid to lukewarm based on the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Because what really got you to see it was I went and saw it on a random evening at the further away theater that had it. And it was my favorite, possibly my favorite movie of the whole year.
Well, I mean, and like we said before, too, the trailer just kind of really undersold it.
Well, it had to.
Yeah.
I mean, Aurora, the trailer tells you what it is. It's actually, I think it's you. No, it's the audience, including myself. Our expectation when we hear that it's like this story of a stripper meeting a Russian oligarch's son and then marrying him and then people wanting them to separate, you just kind of make assumptions of where that's going to go.
Yeah.
And Aurora completely subverts those assumptions and instead takes you on a very realistic, funny, very funny and sad ride through the reality of the whole situation. And I wasn't ready for it. I remember, I think it was like the 45, 50 minute mark was the first time I laughed out loud and I was like, I see what they're doing.
When that coffee table shattered, I guffawed in my apartment.
Of course you did. But I just want to remind you, everybody, that if you have seen Aurora and really enjoyed it, it swept the Academy Awards. Everybody's talking about it. If you haven't seen it, make sure to check it out. But one unfortunate element is now, with Aurora being in the public spotlight so intensely, you may have to talk to your children about Armenians.
Yeah. Jesus.
No, I actually love the handling of kind of like Armenian people in it and the way people kind of assume bad things if you're Armenian. So
I hung out with our mutual friend Courtney last night for our movie night that we do on Mondays typically. And she watched it recently and she was just like, I was just waiting for like the bad things to like happen, like when they showed up. And I was like,
Armenian.
That's what is you're
that's
supposed
why it's
to
great.
think.
No, that's why it's great.
Yeah.
Because the whole movie is completely realistic.
Yeah. So
no, it's a great film. I don't want to rave about the Academy Award winner, but this is the first time in my entire life that at least, because I don't really rank movies heavily in my head, but it was the top 3 movies of the year. And last year was a great year for movies.
It would have been in my top if I'd seen it.
So to have like possibly my favorite movie of 2024 sweep the Oscars, not just win Best Picture, but like sweep them, startled me. Because like I saw Parasite after it won. We both did. We went and saw it in the theater. It was after it won.
It was after?
It was after it won.
Are you sure?
Because they brought it back. That's how we caught it. Because we thought it was a horror movie. Like we thought it was a foreign horror movie. Remember?
I'm gonna check that, and I'm gonna get back to you on that. You might be right, or you may be crazy, but you just may be the lunatic I'm looking for.
What is that?
Billy Joel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know him personally, but no. So I feel bad because we were talking about Last Breath.
Yeah,
a perfectly serviceable suspense film.
Yeah.
Based on a true story. I didn't know that going into it, that it was based on a true story. I can't say that it's worth running to the theater, but if you like the claustrophobic elements, if water scares you, which it does scare me a bit.
The underwater cinematography is gorgeous. I mean, that was kind of one of the things that really, really grabbed me in from the trailer. And honestly, we thought it might have been a little bit more horror film, suspenseful.
Yeah. Well, the moment it said based on a true story, I was like, oh, this isn't going to be exactly what we thought it's going to be.
We were spoiled with Underwater. Let's be honest.
I loved
Underwater. So much fun.
But it's about these guys, this team of 3 who work deep underwater.
Ocean floor,
300 feet down.
Yeah.
And when you go 300 feet down, it takes 3 days to acclimate to the pressure, which they do in a tube on the ship.
Yeah.
And then they dunk you under and put you in a thingy once you're at that depth.
Yeah.
And it takes 3 days to acclimate to come back up. And they're down there to fix a pipeline that's having an issue off the coast of Ireland.
Yeah.
And one of them, through a bunch of bad things happening at once, bad weather, technology failures, ends up stranded with 10 minutes of air.
Yeah. Left.
Yeah. It sounds a little more exciting than it was, but they played it realistic. And because of that, I can't fault it. They
No.
decided not to take an incredible amount of liberties with the story, which I can appreciate because the people that this happened to are, they're still alive and kicking. This happened very recently.
Yeah, Marky Mark's not climbing up from the bottom of the depth to the top of the ship and being like, "What's up, guys?"
I'm a fucking rock star. But I did enjoy it, and I will say, if you're like, man, I want to, like, we are this way. If you're like, man, I really want to go to the theater.
Yeah,
you won't be mad you caught it.
No, not at all.
But it just didn't blow my mind. Although I will tell you what blew my mind. My first observation when the film ended, because they did the thing, where they showed
real footage,
some video footage of the actual guys, could not have cast people who looked less like the actual people.
Yeah, that is fact.
The main character was this youthful, kind of mop-headed young guy, and his wife, a woman of similar height with brunette hair. We see them for real. He's a mountainously tall man, bald-headed, and she's short with blonde hair. And then his crewmates, one of them did not look like Woody Harrelson at all, and the other one was not. It did not appear he was Asian.
It didn't. It did not.
It doesn't really matter, but it definitely took me aback, because usually when you watch a biopic, the most fun part about seeing the actual people is seeing how they styled the actors that to look more like them. And often you'll be like, wow, they like really like one of the best examples, Argo.
Yeah.
When they show the actual people, like, man, they went really far to get them to look like the hostages. Not hostages, but the refugees.
Well, it's like
hiding in
there's
Iran.
that show on Netflix. It's all about the godmother of cocaine, and Sofia Vergara. Is it Vergara or
Varga? Yeah.
Varga? Yeah, she's the one that plays her. Looks nothing like her,
and that does happen.
I just watched an entire documentary on that woman, and looks nothing like her.
It does happen. Yeah, it does happen. So anyway, it was a fun film.
Yeah, definitely.
It was definitely
a good time
killer.
Good
bit of fun.
Yeah.
And speaking of a good bit of fun, we are still in March.
Marching into the dark.
Yep, and we're covering the Hulu series in conjunction with Blumhouse Television.
Yes.
Called Into the Dark, which had 24 episodes, a feature film every month for 24 months. Often they referenced the month they were taking place in.
Yeah.
Sometimes they didn't as much.
So it's funny you say that, because I actually pulled up the Wikipedia page because I was curious information-wise what they would have. This episode in particular pertains to Mother's Day.
Oh, duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the main character's a mom.
Yeah. And then last week's, of course, was Valentine's Day, which we had. But you got Treehouse, which is International Women's Day. You've got Independence Day for Culture Shock. First Day of School for School Spirit. Daughter's Day for Pure. Let's see. We've also
They did in the second season. I felt like they dug a little deeper.
St. Patrick's Day for Crawlers in the second season.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's about pub crawlers.
Yep.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Easter for Puka Lives. Mother's Day for Delivered. Pet Appreciation Week for Good Boy.
Yes.
Independence Day for the Current Occupant, Valentine's Day for Tentacles, and Spring Full Moon for Blood Moon. So they did correlate them, but
no, and I love that. That adds to the fun.
Oh yeah,
and makes you want to tune in every month. I wish they had gotten another season.
Yeah, I do too.
But we got 24.
We got 24
out
episodes.
And we're going to talk about one that stuck out to us the most.
Yes,
a little film called, well, an episode, I guess. This is where it gets confusing. Like,
it's technically a film. I mean, if they're on Letterboxd, I think you can count them as films, and all of them are.
They are films. Yeah. But it's also like confusing because like when I was showing it, I was watching it and Rachel was here, so she was just kind of watching too. I was like trying to say like, oh, this is one of the best, and then I was like, I mean, it's a movie, but it is in context of the series one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And it's called, All That We Destroy. All That We Destroy.
Yeah.
I kept thinking it was What We Destroy. I kept getting that confused in my brain.
Yeah.
All That We Destroy.
All That We Destroy from 2019. 1 hour and 21 minutes, rated TVMA, sexual content, graphic violence, and language.
It had some language in it.
It did indeed. IMDb synopsis says a geneticist who fears her son may be a serial killer creates a group of clones to cure him of his violent tendencies.
It's a little soft. Fears he's a serial killer? Okay.
My synopsis, when her son experiences a deadly violent episode, a geneticist begins a group of experiments with clones in an attempt to cure him.
I like yours more, but I would like to split the difference because I feel like it gives almost too much.
Too much. No, I think that's we even said the same thing last week with Down. I think that's what one of the things I've always loved about these episodes is I remember we would spend like the first 20 to 30 minutes being like, oh, I bet this is going to happen, or maybe this is what's happening.
It subverted expectations.
Revisiting this one, which I revisited this one twice, it was funny because I could call up like at least 3 like specific moments, which I'll get to when we get to the summary, that I was just like, oh yeah, we kind of like figured that out, or we're just like, oh my God, like when that happened.
Oh yeah. And a reminder, these all are on Hulu. They were originally aired on Hulu. So you can give it a watch on Hulu if you want to not have some spoilers, but we're going to
do it.
We're going to dive into this sumbitch.
So unlike last week's with Down, this one did have a tagline. A mother's love never dies.
Oh.
I like that.
A mother's love. That's solid.
Yeah.
That's solid.
Yeah. So our director on this film is Chelsea Stardust, who gets her start in 2019 with Satanic Panic.
Oh, okay, because I knew that name.
Same year she puts out All That We Destroy.
That was the one with
Pizza Girl. And the cult in the neighborhood.
But it had Johnny Knoxville.
Not Johnny Knoxville.
Was that the other one?
No, you're thinking of We Summon the Night, We Summon the Darkness.
Oh, then I know we watched
Satanic Panic. Satanic Panic's the one with the pizza girl, and she ends up falling into the cult. Jerry O'Connell's in it. There's the Kildo, which is the giant dildo drill.
No, I remember.
Yeah.
But they were both released around
the same
similar times, and they were
Yeah.
very similar movies, kind of like Paul Blart and Observe and Report.
Yeah.
I love using that example because people get mad.
But yeah, Satanic Panic and All That We Destroy come out the same year, so she had a really good year. But what people don't realize is she was Jason Blum's personal assistant.
Oh, that's like Roger Corman era. I mean, Peter Bogdanovich was Corman's assistant. Francis Ford Coppola was Roger Corman's assistant.
He brought her on, so he invited her to a secret screening of Insidious. And basically at the end of the thing, he's like, this is kind of what we're going for. Like, do you want to come along for the ride? And she stuck with him, I think, up through, I think it was like 2021 or so. Because I feel like she didn't depart too much farther after COVID, I want to say.
Well, and she went off and did Satanic Panic, not at Blum's company, because she did that one, if I remember correctly, for Fangoria. That was one during that era when Dallas Saunier was running Fangoria Films.
She stuck with him up to 2018. The Last Key, Insidious The Last Key, was the last time she's credited as an assistant.
Oh, okay.
So,
that's awesome. Well, good on her. Anything since?
No, that's basically that's kind of stalemated right now.
I look forward to seeing.
You
more
can still
her.
Follow her on Instagram, and she's very active. So
awesome.
She does have some things going on.
Well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
She's probably just working behind the scenes on lots of stuff. But no, I think that I did not realize that it was the same director as Satanic Panic.
Yeah.
Very talented.
Yeah.
Very talented director.
Very different tones for each one, if you think about it.
Phenomenally different tones. Yeah. That's what I love.
Yeah.
I love that.
So writers on this are Sean Keller and Jim Agnew. They are the writing team behind Dario Argento's Giallo in 2009.
Interesting.
Rage with Nicolas Cage in 2014.
Okay.
Which was like, I want to say like, he had several movies that were kind of like Nicolas Cage's Taken. I feel like Rage was Taken, but his daughter was killed, so then he went after them Rambo style. I remember it not being great, but I remember it being enjoyable.
Wait, you said Rage with Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, 2014. Then they also wrote Broken Vows in 2014, The Capture in 2017, and then All We Destroy in 2019. Cinematographer is Mark Evans. He gets his start on The Kings of Con in 2016, Hug It Out in 2017, Shoot Satanic Panic in 2019, All That We Destroy in 2019, Spellagram in 2019, Kevin Hart's Cold as Balls in 2021, American Meltdown in 2023, and New Life in 2023. He actually got to start doing Chelsea Stardust short films, though.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. I really do.
And I think, if I remember correctly, Sean and Jim were writers on a couple of those as well. So this whole team has worked together under Chelsea for a while.
Very nice. Very nice. And I love that she was working at Blumhouse, kind of helping them, make things happen. And then it was like, time for you to sit in the chair, kid.
So the cast includes Israel Broussard, who plays Spencer Harris in the film. He gets his start in 2010 with Romantically Challenged, Flipped in 2010 as well, The Chaperone, The Bling Ring,
The Chaperone with Triple H? Nice. I just made a joke about that movie the other day.
Yeah. I've not seen that one, but I have seen The Bling Ring. Did you see that one about the kids that broke into celebrities' homes in real life, and Sofia Coppola directed it?
No.
It's, for one, it's on my Vudu.
Okay.
For two, it's good. It's a solid movie. Like, you kind of get the idea of what's happening from the first like hour, and then when they get to like the court stuff, it doesn't really have much of it. It just kind of like concludes, but it's still a pretty solid flick. Sons of Anarchy 2013, Earth to Echo 2014, Jack of Red Hearts, Perfect High, Haters, Good Kids, Fear the Walking Dead in 2016, Say You Will in 2017, and then in 2017 he also does Happy Death Day to Me, or Happy Death Day. Then To All the Boys I've Loved Before, Extinction, Happy Death Day to You, All That We Destroy, and Fear the Rain in 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the main male lead in Happy Death Day.
How did I not remember that?
Yeah. He's the one
Oh,
that...
it totally is him.
Yeah.
His hair's different and he's a little older.
He has a little bit of Jack Quaidness going. Like a smidge of it.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
We also have Samantha Mathis on the cast, who plays Dr. Victoria Harris. She gets her start in 88 on Aaron's Way, Night Watch in 88, Cold Sassy Tree, Pump Up the Volume, Extreme
right.
Close-Up, To My Daughter, Fern Gully Last Rainforest, The Music of Chance, Super Mario Brothers in 93.
Finally, a feature film.
The Thing Called Love, Little Women, The American President, Broken Arrow, Sweet Jane, Freak City, The Outer Limits, American Psycho, Harsh Realm, Night Visions, The Mist of Avalon, Twilight Zone remake, Punisher, Salem's Lot, Law and Order Criminal Intent, House, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, Lost, Grey's Anatomy, The New Daughter in 2009, Buried with Ryan Reynolds in 2010.
Oh, nice.
Curb Your Enthusiasm, Under the Dome, The Good Wife, The Strain, The Clove Hitch Killer, All That We Destroy in 2019, then goes on to be in Bull, Law and Order SVU, Pet Sematary Bloodlines, and most recently last year, 2024's The Exorcism with Russell Crowe.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, she's definitely, aside from Jack Whaley.
Yeah.
That's his name.
Frank Whaley.
Frank Whaley. Thank you. Aside from Frank Whaley, I mean, she is the veteran on this film, and it makes sense because she carries the movie. I mean, she's the lead.
Oh yeah.
Israel.
Yeah.
He's like the he's definitely the supporting. But she is definitely the lead because it's mostly about how she is struggling with her son and everything. They cast a ringer for that.
They
She's
absolutely
great
did,
and
yeah.
she's done so much.
She's fantastic in Pump Up the Volume, especially too, which will probably come to this show at some point.
You do love your Pump Up the Volume.
The only reason I'm holding off is because it's not really available like streaming wise. You can buy that new Blu-ray through newish through Warner, but as far as like actually streaming it, it's not really readily available. New Line's weird like that. Some of their movies are out there and some of them aren't.
Well, I mean, you got to remember the stuff made before New Line got basically bought by Warner. And then the whole mess when AOL collapsed and then Warner Brothers having to kind of figure their stuff out again.
Yeah.
A lot of it has been licensed and sub-licensed prior. So it seems like, the big titles, they've gotten them sorted out, the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, of course.
Lord of the Rings and stuff. But yeah, those ones, they seem to have slipped through the cracks a bit.
I just want my fucking 4K of Ricochet. That's all I want in this life.
I know, buddy. I know.
I had to have a Blu-ray made of that movie so I could have it.
I just wish we could get one conversation where we didn't talk
about Ricochet.
Yeah.
All right. We also have Aurora Perrineau, who plays Ashley Prime in the film. She gets her start in 2010 on Pretty Little Liars, Air Collision, Chasing Life, Equals, A House Is Not a Home, Gem and the Holograms in 2015, Freaks of Nature in 2015. Did you see that?
Freaks of Nature. That sounds really familiar.
It came out around the same time as 99 Homes because I rented both of them from Redbox.
Oh, what a delightful night.
Yeah.
99 Homes. I love that movie, but that movie leaves you not feeling good in your body.
Yeah. Passengers in 2016, The Carmichael Show 2017, Truth or Dare from Blumhouse in 2018.
Okay.
Boo in 2018, All That We Destroy, When They See Us, Prodigal Son series, It Takes Three, Westworld in 2022, Chaos, and we even have Crossword in 2024.
She is super, super good in this.
Yeah. Especially since she plays.
When she gets thrown into it, head first.
Yeah.
She's very memorable in this film. Yeah. Hey.
So our first time watching this, I remember we had seen the teaser for this one at the end of what would have been, I want to say, if this is Mother's Day, that's May, so April would have been.
It might have been I'm Just Fucking With You.
I think it was I'm Just Fucking With You. So yeah, I think we saw the teaser because they had a little teaser always at the end of the current one. And I remember we were hooked by the teaser of it, and then watching it, we were just kind of blown away because we were putting things together, but then there was also just the unpredictability of it.
Well, and here's the thing about that. You're wrong. No,
that's fair.
But no, here's the thing about that. As I was rewatching this, because the first time you watch it, you kind of have no clue what's going on. I mean, we open with this young girl in a room with a young guy, and he starts talking about her familiarly, says, play our song. A song plays. She doesn't remember it.
She comes out of the liquid first. The first shot is her coming out of the black liquid.
But it's abstract.
Yeah.
We think we know that she came out of the black liquid. We think we know what's going on. Or we think we know what we're seeing is a better way to put it.
Well, we see hands tending to her, kind of like cleaning her and dressing her. But yeah, then she's presented to him in this bedroom, and he's just sitting there when she wakes up.
Yeah, and if you don't know that this movie deals with the concept of cloning, then it could literally be anything. She could be a vampire or from another dimension or an alien. You have no way of knowing.
No.
All you see is her coming out of this viscous black tar.
Yeah.
And now she's, cleaned up and she's hanging out with this guy, but it takes a very sudden turn because he starts asking her questions that she doesn't have the answers to, no memories of these things he's talking about.
Who she is. He basically goes through like about 3 questions, and then every time that we get to this, he always says, play our song.
Yes.
And that is the Babies. I can't remember what the song. I think it's every time I love you or something like that.
I think it's Every Time I Love You.
Yeah, which is John Waite and the Babies. And she doesn't recognize the song, and so that's when, he offers her some wine. She apologizes to him because she says that I feel nothing. Like, I don't recognize you. And that's when he basically breaks out and strangles her, takes her to the floor, and bashes her head until there's a nice puddle of blood behind her.
And she's dead.
Yeah, she's dead.
Period. And that is just the opening. I mean, we haven't even gotten the title yet.
No.
Because then we see him dragging her naked body.
Yeah.
And the title is cut out of black. So you see him between the letters.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's
and
really
then seeing
memorable.
that, I was just like, that is haunting.
Yeah, no, it's really, really memorable. And he's dragging her through the letters of the title. We see her get dumped into some box,
steel container that is out in the open. They're out in the desert. This house is out in the desert. There's no houses around them, basically.
Well, they're on top of like a hill. They're like the one isolated house in a very rich neighborhood.
Yeah. So then we see him dump the body, and as he does this, his mom pulls up in the car.
Yes, and she looks like a business professional driving a very expensive car.
Yeah,
and he tells her
it's done.
It's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
So that's when we see the mom push him a notebook, and he basically says, I don't feel like, right. And she's like, well, go ahead and write it then. And he's like, fine, I will. And we find out that this is his mom, Dr. Victoria Harris, and she goes into her lab, and that's where we see the pool of black liquid that we saw at the beginning. So we kind of put together that she has a lot to do with this.
Yeah, that she's some kind of a mad scientist type, some kind of archetype of a mad scientist. And yeah, this is where I was just really in.
Yeah.
But here's something I noticed upon a second viewing, because I'd never watched it again.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these I never revisited.
That's kind of what I love doing this. Yeah.
So one of the things that struck me is this kind of like eerie, dark, messy science fiction tends to be the realm of episodic TV.
Yeah.
Because my first thought as it was all coming together was Roger Corman Presents, which was literally, I think, an inspiration for this concept, because Roger Corman Presents was a new feature-length movie every month made by Roger Corman Studios.
Yeah.
They had a lot of very oddball, dark science fiction stories.
Oh my God, yeah.
Then you have stuff like
Bonesaw,
but also like Tales from the Crypt, which would have the occasional very dark science fiction. I feel like we don't get a lot of feature length. We do occasionally, but we don't get a lot of feature length movies.
No,
that are this kind of dark.
And I feel like
element.
this is way more Black Mirror than I would expect for Into the Dark. And I mean, I'm not saying that this doesn't fit with Into the Dark. It absolutely does.
No, it fits by not fitting, because that's the best part, is that you don't know what you're going to get every month.
Yeah, but it feels very Black Mirror-esque. And so she is going through her lab notes. She gets a call from her friend Parker. And this is where we kind of get a taste of the technology in this one as well, because she puts this little dot thing on her forehead. Her eyes roll into the back and go black, and she basically virtual realities with Frank Whaley, who's playing Parker.
Yeah, and they're walking in like a beautiful wooded area.
Yeah.
And talking about how she's struggling with her son, and then we start to become aware that he is the father.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he can't be around.
No.
We never get an explanation exactly.
He just says that he can't be around and that she should understand why, and she always kind of resents him for that, especially towards the end.
Sure. And that's revealed after many scenes where at first it's just kind of, it's suggested that for some reason he can't be around. Who knows what it could be? But also I like how they're in this place that's so beautiful. It's almost a pharmaceutical commercial.
Yeah.
It's so gorgeous. The colors are so vibrant.
Well, and she makes pharmaceutical money, I would say, because we find out that she works for a facility that is Harris Genetics, and they're working on basically cloning organs. That's her big kind of, I don't know if it's her.
Well, she's a founding member of that, and she's a geneticist.
Yeah, and I don't know if she's actually presented that yet, or if this is part of that study, because that's what it kind of seems like, is that the board wants to hear from her all the time, and she has this that she's focused on.
Well, what she says in private is that she already has the breakthrough.
Yeah,
that's going to make them the biggest name in organs,
copied organs
in the world.
Yeah,
but she's far more obsessed with helping her son.
Yeah.
And he has a serious problem, a predilection for murder.
Mm-hmm. And he does this in a way that is brutal, upsetting, and pattern. He has a pattern to it every single time. And he even tells his mom, because the basic premise is his mom keeps creating the same clone of this woman that he killed some years ago. And she keeps cloning her over and over again and trying to humanize her a little more each time and try to make it seem to fit for him, because he keeps saying that it doesn't feel right. It feels like the same thing over and over again. Yeah. He can't have that real feel again.
Well, and at first we think it is so she can understand why.
Yeah.
But it becomes very obvious that the entire purpose is to scratch the itch. Yeah. To kill.
Yeah, because one of my favorite lines from Frank Whaler's character, Parker, is she gets to a point where she's convinced that, like, I think we've got a pattern here. I think we got something that'll work. He'll move out, and he'll go do.
He might even be able to move out. He might even be able to go to college.
And then he says, yeah, and then he can come back home and visit when he needs to get his fix.
No, it's really a great moment. Yeah, because this kid is a killer.
Yeah.
And as the movie progresses, we find out that he was killing animals. There's a whole eerie scene where she's looking at two pet graves in the back of their house.
And also, Spencer is a great artist. He's a great sketch artist, but he's sketching this dead woman over and over again.
Well, and he's clearly tormented.
Yeah, with ants crawling on her face, with tire marks on her face.
I love when he's sketching, because when he's doing the ants, it's subtle, but it's noticeable.
Yeah.
Some of the ants are actually crawling as he's drawing her, which suggests some kind of a level of non-reality in his mind.
Not to mention the fact that she winks. The drawing winks a couple times too, like eyes flutter and whatnot. So the basic premise is she's designing a new clone every single time to kind of give him the fix, which is Ashley. And Ashley was her name, and she was a girl that was involved in some kind of crime. We don't know specifically what it was, but basically he was out walking one day out in the desert area. She gets kicked out of a car by her companion, and basically has to go back to his place because that's the only place that she can go.
Well, and he says, my mom could give you a ride. I don't have a car, but my mom could give you a ride.
So Victoria's working late this night. She's a bit promiscuous to him and is like looking at his art and dancing with him, grinding up on him.
She's flirty and having fun.
They have some wine, and then something goes wrong to where basically she says the wrong thing to him. He strangles her, then bashes her head against the floor. Mom comes home and finds out and is just like, I'll take care of this.
Methinks there might be some psychosexual elements, because he really gets mad. She likes him.
Yeah.
I mean, she's being, very friendly. We don't get to really look into her psyche as to if she was going to rob them or if she literally just thought he was cute and wanted to kill. Because she says she's just like, what are we going to do for a couple hours till mom gets home? So it seems like she's just being cute and flirty with him.
Love her introduction though too, despite the whole thing of getting kicked out of the car, because after that, like, they're walking and she takes the, like, is like, hey, give me your jacket, like not even like asking for it, just like, no, give it here.
She's very forward in every way, which is the opposite of him. He's very reserved, very quiet, very shy, and just seemed like a normal guy. You know, I would never imagine he'd do.
And then you find out
describing a serial killer.
And then you also find out that the song was her song. It was never their song. It was a song that her grandmother had liked, and she had picked up on it because she says this. Does she say the specific song? Yeah, she calls out because it's basically like a.
What happens is she asks if he likes music. And he's like, yeah, you, and she's like, yeah, and then he's like, ask for something and it'll play it.
Yeah.
Talking about the computer system in the house. So she says, play the Babies. And it plays that specific song by the Babies.
Yeah.
So then she says, my grandma used to play the song for me.
Yeah.
And that's where we find out that and the way they weave it into the the main narrative is really cool.
Yeah.
Because he's talking, well, at this point, he's not allowed to talk to the clone yet, the new clone.
No.
Mom is trying to give the clone memories and personality.
Selectively going through her social media, picking out things selectively, and all this stuff is going on also while Spencer befriends the new neighbor girl who has moved in.
And Spencer's not supposed to really leave the house.
No, he can go on his walks, but
Right.
that's the gist of
But
it.
he encounters this attractive young woman,
Marissa.
who looks a little bit similar.
Like to Ashley. No,
a little
absolutely
bit,
does.
just a smidge.
Yeah.
I mean, they have different hair, but they have a similar height, similar facial features, similar skin tone.
And he holds back from her at first because I mean she's moving into the house and he's looking at her and she's like, can you help me? It helps him with the boxes. And then he immediately goes home. So he's trying to kind of respect the boundary at first, but then they kind of hit it off. She likes that he's weird, likes that his art style, even gets him a shot at the gallery.
Yeah. She is like, she's being that, and this is where it gets a little funky too, because now that I'm thinking about it, both of these women are a little manic pixie dream girl.
A little bit.
They're extra outgoing.
Yeah.
They want to be around. They want to be around him. They want to get to know him. They want to flirt with him. They want all these things. And he's, completely unprepared for it, completely uncomfortable with it.
Well, and I love the gallery scene specifically because so she had invited him to the gallery and we cut over there eventually and she's showing him art.
Well, and we forgot to mention the one eerie thing about the art.
Oh.
He starts drawing her instead.
He draws her, yeah. Well, that's what he presents her with.
Worrisome.
Yeah, presents her with a gift,
yeah.
and then that gets him a tray of cookies and whatnot. But no, yeah, they're at this gallery, and they're just looking at art, and then she surprises him by showing that she had art submitted on his behalf, which is the one that he gave her, which we joked about because it's just like, yeah, I know the gallery. He freaked out when he saw
Yeah, he freaked out. I mean, he told me no, and I told him too bad. Well, and she says that the art gallery owner, because her parents are away.
Yeah.
And she's home from college.
Yep.
And she's like, oh, the owner of the gallery knows my parents, so I was able to show him this.
And, yeah. And so, I mean, then he doesn't necessarily freak out, but he's just, you can kind of tell he's not used to this because he's like, oh, like, well, why didn't you ask me? She's like, I wanted to surprise you. And he's like, well, that's my art. And she's like, you gave it to me. And then slowly he kind of comes into it, but he's still uncomfortable with it at first.
Yeah. No, and it's a great dichotomy because as this is happening, it's juxtaposed with his mother befriending this clone for the slaughter.
Yeah.
And having human connection with her.
And while this is going on too, like 2 more Ashleys get killed in the process. Like she has to befriend 2 different clones, basically. So it gets to the point where Marissa takes Spencer back home and just so happens to see Ashley staying in one of the rooms of the house and notices her, then comes back the next day and takes a picture of her and Victoria together.
Yeah.
And that kind of complicates things a bit.
Well, you think. And while all this is going on, she's occasionally meeting with the father again.
Yeah.
And talking about how her entire plan is to pacify his need to kill, because after she's fed information to this clone and this clone's been more like the girl that he killed.
Yeah.
Like she has a little bit more personality, a little bit, some memories she implanted back into her. He felt good.
Yeah.
Well, it feels so gross to say. He felt good after killing her.
Yeah. And then Parker, his dad, the entire time is just like, you can't fix him. Like there is something wrong with him. He needs to have a professional. He needs to be seen by people. And she's just like, no, I can do this. So if I was to guess as to why they don't see each other, I bet he's on the other side of the world probably or something. They're estranged, I would say.
No, it sounds like, I mean, obviously they're not still married. That's very clear.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I like that we don't really find out because it's not really prudent.
No,
why he's not around.
He's just kind of the good voice of reason that she doesn't want to listen to, and he also never really loses his cool. Like he's always kind of the same temperament and everything. He never really shouts.
He could have been in prison,
and that's entirely possible too. Never thought about that.
Because she does resent him a lot when he says, like, this is the reality of whatever. And if he were in prison, he'd have a pretty realistic opinion of what to do with people who hurt people.
Yeah.
Especially if he's currently doing time.
That's a really good...
I had just thought of that.
That really does make sense.
Because why wouldn't prisoners be able to have, like, the allotted time to speak? And also, he never speaks with his son. Ever.
No.
Which is also kind of strange. I had wondered, it ended up not happening, but I had wondered a few times if we were going to find out he was like a computer simulation of her ex-husband or something. That never got revealed.
Never got revealed.
One thing we didn't mention is during those scenes where they're talking, they just lean in on these little tiny digital glitches.
Yeah.
That remind you that what you're seeing is a facsimile and not reality.
Yeah, and that also goes throughout anytime the cloning process happens, we always have like a little bit of a glitch kind of speeding things up and whatnot, because the main thing is that she'll get the clone out of the goo, put it in the shower, dress it, leave it in the bedroom, and then Spencer would usually come in, but then she starts locking the door to keep him out.
Yeah. Yeah. And all it's doing is forcing him out of the house.
Yeah.
Because he can't be around this clone and he can't really be around his mother. And while all that is happening, his mother is constantly being hassled by the company, this major science company.
They got a stockholders meeting. The board wants to meet. And it gets to the point basically towards the climax where she goes to the meeting and then finds out that Marissa has also found out that Ashley is a missing person and also a wanted criminal. And it's just like, what's going on? Like, what's your family up to? What are you doing with this girl? So this basically takes us to the conclusion.
Well, and the mom, one of the other ways she's kind of justifying what she's doing is she is saying like this could be a breakthrough in cognitive behavioral therapy for people who are prone to violence.
Yeah.
But I think that that's mostly just her way of kind of justifying that she's putting all of her effort and resources into it. There's a great part when she's saying like, you need to come here. And she's like, well, my name's on the side of the goddamn building. You'd think they'd trust me a little bit. And she's like, they want to hear from you.
Hear from you. Yeah. Tell them this.
And they even say like, am I going to have the biggest breakthrough in organ donation of all time?
Yeah.
Is my spokesperson even going to be there?
Yeah.
Like they want to know.
And
that also tells you that she's some kind of a public facing part of this organization as well. And it's clear that she's obsessed, far more with helping her son, which makes sense. But this cloning process, she's basically taken it further because when she says like this could be a way to help with cognitive behavioral therapy and all this stuff, her ex-husband even says like, remember how hard it was to get them to allow you to make just organs?
Yeah.
Imagine how hard it'd be to get them to knowingly let you make a whole human.
Yeah.
For killing.
Yeah.
For murder.
So basically our conclusion takes us to a point that Spencer's art book becomes a huge point of focus because Ashley ends up stealing it, looking through it, and finds the sketchings of her bloody, nose dripping, ants crawling on her face, and gets very upset.
Yeah.
And that plays back into a lot of the flashbacks too, and also the current clones, because anytime the art book is shown, that page usually happens, and that's usually what sets it off.
Right.
So she gets the art book, flips through it. By this point, Marissa has also snuck into the house because she's found out the information, and she runs right into Spencer, and she's like, you have to tell me what's going on. Victoria's gotten the message on the phone because she keeps track of all her son's activities, so she sees the text from Marissa, so she's racing back home. Marissa ends up, unfortunately, getting on his bad side and has to defend herself, but that leads to a glass getting broken and Spencer stabbing her with the glass.
But the interesting thing, and I don't know if you thought about this or not, he doesn't kill her just like he killed the other girl.
He says he has to. He says, I have to do this, because she even's like, you don't have to do this. He's like, no, I have to. And then he just stabs her a couple times in the chest with the glass.
And I got the sense there was definitely a sense of self-defense on his part.
Yeah.
Because she was fighting back right away.
Yeah.
But also I got the sense that he was killing her to protect his mother.
Yeah.
Because he has to protect her for all the messed up stuff she's doing.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, he never asked her to do.
No. Well, she even has a hard time early on with Parker because Parker is like, you have to see this. You have to see the process. You can't just go in and be the cleanup crew.
Yeah, one of the elements that we didn't quite mention, although I think it's obvious, is she never witnesses him killing these women.
Yeah.
She has him write in a notepad everything that happened, how he feels.
One camera. She does have the one that she watches from the bedroom, so she does see him kill on camera once.
Well, yeah, but her ex has to convince her to put a camera
to do that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So that she can actually see it. And she even says like, but by observing, I'm changing the results or whatever. And he's like, that doesn't matter. The amount of error that would come from you observing, you'll get such better information if it's not secondhand. So he makes a really good point, but also she knows what she's doing is not straight science.
Yeah.
It's not moral.
No. Well, and we don't know how many times she's done this. That's one of my favorite lines from Ashley is, so basically what happens is Ashley gets out of her room and she finds her way into the lab, finds the voicemails on her phone finds the footage of her being created over and over again, finds all these, missing and wanted posters. And so that's when Victoria and Spencer realize that she's missing, goes into the lab, and Victoria like confronts her, and she's like, you're an incredible piece of work. Like you're a miracle. You're literally like the most special girl out there. And one thing leads to another. She gets hit with the hammer, and Spencer comes in, and that's when he tackles her. All this is going on, though. They're basically making a point that Ashley has no idea how many times she's been killed.
Yeah.
She even says that to Victoria. How many times has he killed me?
Yeah.
And that's chilling.
No, the whole thing is so eerie because the mother's insanity is growing.
Yeah.
A very classic mad scientist concept.
And he looks a couple years younger on that first murder when I was watching it.
He definitely looks younger. It might also be the way he was acting too.
And
I mean, like as a person, because he
Yeah.
was very reserved. By the time that he's killing these clones for his mother, basically, he's a little bit more assertive with his mother. He's a little bit more assertive in general until he's kind of in public. And even then he was more confident around this new girl than he ever had been before. So there are a lot of things have changed about him.
Yeah.
Whether it was 6 months ago or a really long time ago doesn't necessarily matter too much.
No. And he loves her because, I mean, she hits him anytime that she finds a new body, basically. And he that's one thing I noticed too, is anytime he takes the slap, he looks up and then looks back at her. Like he accepts his punishment, knows what he did, never lashes out towards her.
Yeah.
His mother's protected. That's his mom.
Well, and I think his mother doesn't want to accept that she doesn't want to accept a lot of things.
Yeah.
But it's a crime of compulsion.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with serial killers in general, is that they're almost always compelled because they have to.
Yeah.
Inside, they feel a need. There are like 3 types of crimes. There's crimes of profit, crimes of passion, and crimes of compulsion.
Yeah.
And crimes of compulsion are the hardest to control.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Because they're not thought out. Because they can't be.
No, you listen to any serial killer that has multiple bodies under their belt, it comes always with that thing of like, I just thought this is what I was supposed to do.
Well, except the ones that were like killing for hire and stuff like that. But then there you go. Then crimes of profit.
Yeah.
And then of course there are people who kill because they're angry in the moment.
Yeah.
Crimes of passion.
Yeah.
So you're right. This is when we start to realize that this isn't going to work. But the real problem is that her son needs to be put away.
Yeah. And she doesn't want to do it.
No, she doesn't want to give him up. It's selfish.
Yeah.
It's really selfish.
Yeah. So basically we get to the conclusion where she has been chased outside by Spencer. Spencer's looking around for her. She gets the upper hand on him, ends up killing him basically the exact same way that he kills her every time. So she strangles him, bashes it on the driveway. Right as this is happening, though, the cops pull up because one thing we forgot to mention is that Marissa got a call off because she shouted to the system to call 911. So the cops show up, they pull Ashley away, put her back in the car. Victoria comes out just completely broken down by her death of her son, and she's crying and everything. And then the final scene, she's talking to Parker.
Well, remember the police, they assume that this is just the original person who is a wanted criminal who just murdered this innocent young man violently.
So she's in the back of the cop car crying.
And no one suspects this famous and rich and powerful woman.
Nope.
They assume she's just the victim of a sad crime.
Yeah. So she is talking to Parker and basically says, actually, Parker is like, I tried to tell you, like, this was nothing. You could never fix this. You tried your best, but he was always going to have this path. She's burning the documents, shredding things, like everything of his notebook, everything of the art book, all that stuff's going away.
And she tells her ex, I'm going to take my severance, sell the house, and go away.
Yeah. And also, I'm never going to see you again. Takes the thing off, breaks it in half.
Which I was impressed because it was very small.
It was very small.
Snap that thing. But
so she's in her lab watching a video of Parker or of Spencer when he was 7 years old, playing with, I believe it was the first dog that's not Lucky, which is
Max.
Max.
Yeah.
And then we hear something bubble. We turn around into the black liquid, and a new Spencer's being born.
And we knew.
Yeah. Oh, we knew.
Yeah, we knew she was going to have to make a new Spencer.
Yeah.
The real question is what does she do with the new Spencer?
That's my question too. But also, how did she clone? Because if you follow anything with clones, you have to actually like have the baby and start that point and whatnot. So
well, but it gets more murky because I mean this is science fiction.
Yes.
But here's the question. Here's the darkest part to me.
Hmm.
She wants Spencer back.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that she is going to train the new Spencer to kill as well? Because she's lost all of her moral scruples.
Yeah.
If he was a killer,
Yeah.
is she going to struggle to make this clone a monster just like her boy?
Yeah.
I think she is.
I think she is too. I mean, everything that points to her actions in this have demonstrated that she has only cared about him and herself. Because like that's one thing at the conclusion is she even tells Spencer like, you know, go, like I'll take care of this. Or no, Spencer tells her to go.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'll take the rap for it. And she's like, no, we're gonna do this together. So they were always in it together, and they were always gonna basically be burned to the ground together. And that's what happens at this is she's lost everything, and now she's just going to probably keep repeating the process until she gets it right, which is never gonna happen.
Yeah. And she refuses to accept her son for who he is and what he needs, which is probably to be locked up.
Yeah.
It's very, very tragic.
It is.
And it's well played. And you know what movie reminded me of this quite a bit? What was it? Was that one with Judge Reinhold? No, Every time. No, but you know what reminded me of this just in tone was Brain Dead.
Yeah.
The Julie Corman produced.
Yeah, with Bill Paxton
and Bill Pullman.
Yep.
Because it was about scientists and developing all these systems
One of
and
the
how
most
you
chilling final shots.
how you eventually lose your scruples because you're so obsessed with the success of your experiments. And ironically enough, like I said earlier, that was originally supposed to be, well, it wasn't on Roger Corman Presents, but it was originally a screenplay that was pitched to, I want to say the Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits. But when it wasn't bought, Corman bought it. And then 20 years later or whatever, they turned it into a feature film screenplay. And it has that vibe.
It does.
It has that same vibe of that, like that
does.
weird stilted sci-fi scientist who's lost their mind concept. And I swear it's like television just is hungry for stories like that.
Yeah.
And I love them.
Well, it's like I'm always a big fan of The Brain That Wouldn't Die. And what I love about The Brain That Wouldn't Die specifically is that it starts out as a love story because he brings his wife back from a tragic accident. What he fails to realize is his wife is now a monster or controlling a monster and a monster herself, so that he is trying to basically save her. But what he's doing is completely bringing his own demise. And I've always loved that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
But
and so this is one that it doesn't leave a great taste in your mouth. It's not meant to be.
It's bleak.
It's very bleak, but it does have an element of fun. I mean, the world building, because they're in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
So they have, cell phones and tablets, but they're slightly different.
They're clear. And apparently they're mocked after Black Mirror, because that's the only trivia that I could find is that they resemble pieces that are in Black Mirror.
I feel like that's just a common trope, though.
It is.
I mean, to have just a piece of plexiglass that like projects everything on it, I feel like that's just.
Yeah.
I mean, they did that in the last episode of Weeds.
That is true.
Because it took place in the future.
So we don't unfortunately have any budgets or notes as normal, but what are your final thoughts on 2019's All That We Destroy?
This one is super memorable.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't quite exude that holiday feel.
No.
That some of the ones that I kind of were my favorites had.
Latch 2, yeah.
But I think that this one, just as a film, is really intriguing.
Yeah.
Great performances, great concept. And I think that overall its moral points are very fair as well.
Absolutely.
But they don't spoon feed it to you. You kind of get there on your own. And that's something that I feel like has become less and less common, to let us kind of make our own decisions instead of having some ending fucking monologue to tell us what the moral point was.
Yeah.
Which makes me insane, because we're supposed to get there on our own. That's the point of the story.
Yeah.
I hate when there's that moment where it's like, but let me explain to you why this didn't work.
Yeah.
Because in the end, you're supposed to give up, blah, 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 blah. Although I do think they could have been heavier with her ex kind of saying, being a little bit harsher about like, you need to let him, I'd go. He's there a little bit, but not a lot.
I'd be curious if there's more of him on the cutting room floor, honestly.
I doubt it, because he was the biggest name in the whole thing.
That is true. Yeah, that is true.
I wouldn't be surprised if they used every second of footage they got with him.
That's true.
Imagine how nice of a payday that must have been for him, though.
Yeah.
Like,
go on a nice walk.
I want you to go on a nice walk in a beautiful arboretum and talk to this beautiful actress, and that's it, and have fun.
Yeah.
I bet it was a great 2 days.
But yeah, it's this is definitely one that I recommend highly because of the fact that it has the moral compass there, but also on top of that, you've got the great performances from everyone. Everyone in this knew the assignment and came to play. And you also are shown horrific imagery over and over again, but you kind of want to see it in the sense that you're getting more of the story each time too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're kind of left on that point of, okay, I understand what's going on, but like, what is the end game of this?
Yeah.
And there really isn't.
Well, and that's really her problem.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a story point, a plot hole.
Yeah.
I think it's just
character.
She's gone crazy.
Yeah.
But she never has that wild-eyed moment.
No.
Which I think is what makes it scarier.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh, well, I'll do this, and everything's perfectly justified. Yeah. And that's terrifying.
Yeah, it is, though. It absolutely is. So, this is one we definitely recommend. Another one we'll recommend, tying into the family element. This is the one, I like the body. Don't get me wrong. I really like the body.
Yeah.
Flesh and Blood from 2018 with Dermot Mulroney.
Yeah. That was before I had introduced you.
Yes.
And so that was the second episode.
Yes.
And it was the Thanksgiving episode.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of it being some broad Thanksgiving episode,
like
this
Pilgrim.
This is our honorable mention of an episode you should check out. It's about a young girl who is basically is a prisoner.
Agoraphobic.
Well, she's agoraphobic, but we start to realize that she's kind of a prisoner of her father.
Yes.
And by kind of, I mean literally.
Yes.
And there's so much to it. It's so dark. It's so twisted. It's painful.
It will hurt you. This one will hurt you. Just like All That We Destroy hurts you. This one will hurt you too, but you will not see it coming in the best way possible to where you'll have to finish it out.
Yeah. Finish your turkey before you start watching that if you watch it on Thanksgiving. But it was, to me, it was the hook for me because the body was this, kind of cool horror movie. It had some laughs. It had some dark humor. It had, a charming lead actor.
Yeah.
And then the next one was just that.
Yeah.
It was.
Hey, do
such
you like
a heavy
family?
thing.
Do you like Thanksgiving? Do you like feeling bad?
Yes. yes, and yes. No. And I think that was what made me go, wow, I got to tune in.
Yeah.
I got to tune in every month because I want to see where we're headed next. So I really think that now that it's been 5 years since it aired, roughly, the whole series, I really look back very fondly. I'm already getting nostalgia for how fun it was to watch a brand new Blumhouse movie every single month and have it be, even the ones I didn't like that much, they took chances.
Yeah.
They tried different things. Yeah. Some of them I was shocked how brilliant they were. Some of them I thought were a little cliche. Some of them were cliche in a really fun way.
Yeah.
Some were cliche in a way that I didn't like as much. Some of them were a little half-baked.
Some of them go great, and some of them just can't get that ending, but they try.
And some of them you wish they wouldn't end.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it, is that you got something new. It's kind of like the joke about like, oh, you don't like the Ramones? Well, don't worry. Every song's 2 minutes. You'll find one you like. Like, we'll get there. And these 85-minute, maximum movies, they really are a lot of fun. And this is something that I've talked about on here a lot. I'm so tired of the expectation when you go to the theater or whatever, is that it needs to be the new best movie you've ever seen.
It has to wow you.
We consume media.
Yeah.
Can't it just be good?
Yeah.
And we just had a good time?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So, and that's what they did with Into the Dark.
This show has given me both a platform to share the things I love, but also has given me the opportunity to go back on things that I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. Like, we should talk about that. And then something like Tough Turf is just like, I have to have Tough Turf in my life forever now. Like, there's just no getting around it. I love the idea that there are things that you've already seen that you can go back and reappraise, and having had like you said, like 5 years since we watched this, freaking hit beautifully. And it was kind of that reminder of, oh yeah, like, even though I've seen this, you can still, your mind can change, things you can pick up on and everything. Rewatching things in a new light, new age, best experience sometimes.
Yeah. And of all of these, the only one we've revisited is Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Because it's a Bafo Sacco Thanksgiving horror movie, and there aren't that many.
No.
And it is so fun.
Insane.
So no, I really, this one stands out.
Yeah.
Out of the pack for being very different, very fun, and very interesting. It makes you think a lot. I like when they end kind of dour, because that like in 2 or 3 of them, you're going to get one that's kind of funny or kind of silly. you're going to get something different every month.
Yeah.
And I love that.
No, it's just like Tales from the Crypt. Tales from the Crypt had some really fun endings, had some really down endings, and had some really like holy shit endings.
And we remember it.
Yeah, we do.
So
we always like to end the show with a couple recommendations. The first one I have this week from 2013 is Plus One, currently available on AMC Plus and IFC Films. This is three college friends hit the biggest party of the year where a mysterious phenomenon disrupts the night, quickly descending into chaos that challenges their friendships and whether they can stay alive. It sounds horror-esque, but I will say it leans way more into sci-fi than it does horror. But Plus One was a movie that just I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did, because it just kind of was like, oh, clones crash a birthday party. This sounds zany.
Yeah.
It goes way deeper than that.
yeah.
Plus One is fantastic. Second recommendation, I'm going to go with 2018's Annihilation, currently on Paramount Plus.
Oh, yeah, I like Annihilation.
Biologist signs up for a dangerous secret expedition in which the laws of nature don't apply. Two things about Annihilation. You are not going to expect the amount of gore in this movie.
Correct.
It's insane. Second thing, line a light watch up afterwards.
Yeah. Go with something like Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah, there you
Actually,
go.
that does end in a good note.
Yeah.
So as far as my selection for this show, to like a movie that reminds me of it, I went a little more like to the literal feeling it gave me, and I went really recent. I went with 2023's Infinity Pool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which is one I want to revisit by Brandon Cronenberg. Ironically, it's on Hulu right now.
Yeah.
I should rewatch that like ASAP.
Show that to Rachel.
I think she'd love it.
Yeah.
Basically the rundown is James and M. Foster are enjoying an all-inclusive beach vacation in the fictional island of La Tolca when a fatal accident exposes the resort's perverse subculture of hedonistic tourism, reckless violence, and surreal horrors.
Yeah, it does.
And it's not a big spoiler. The movie's been out a few years, but it involves cloning.
Yeah.
And basically, if you commit a terrible crime on this island, an unforgivable crime, all crimes basically are punishable by death.
Yeah.
Which keeps the crime rate low. But if you're rich, they'll clone you and kill, and they'll execute the clone.
Yep. As many times as you want.
As many times as you fucking want. And it was one of those movies that as it was happening, I thought it was really jarring.
Yeah.
Which I think was on purpose. And then as I thought about it more, I was like, this is such a great example of like, of poverty tourism.
Yeah.
Of going to a nation that's very poor and desperate and just doing whatever you want because because even, I mean, in a place like that, even having upper middle class puts you pretty high above the locals. You
should check out Cronenberg's filmography, which is Antiviral, Possessor, and Infinity Pool. Possessor, one of the best sci-fi movies I've seen in the last decade, but super, super, super bleak. And Antiviral just kind of gives you that question of what would you do if you had all the power to basically stay beautiful and young forever? And it kind of that substance realm as well, but like it goes into a place of celebrity infamy that really goes into like a deep pit.
So it's not like what would you do because John Quijones comes out.
Hi, John Quijones. For what would you do?
On NBC, on television. Anyway.
But yeah, Antiviral, Possessor, and Infinity Pool. Brandon Cronenberg's filmography is not for everyone, but man, those movies are absolutely worth a watch.
I would like to check out more because I saw Infinity Pool in the theater and I really enjoyed it. And at first I didn't. Like, I mean, as I was watching it took a while for it to click with me, and then all of a sudden I was like, ooh, I really like what they're saying and how they're saying it.
And it was at that height of Mia Goth with Pearl and everything, so there was that more of her being shown in the trailers, and she's really not in the movie. I mean, she's in a decent amount, but not as much as
she's scary as shit in the movie.
Exactly.
She's just doing her screaming psycho routine.
Yeah.
Which
she does well.
She does very well, but I mean, she's got so much more.
Yeah.
Excuse me, so much more to her. I mean, Pearl, I do think is a masterpiece.
It is.
So, I mean, just my two. I think X is a really fun slasher movie. I think Maxine is a really fun throwback
slasher, giallo-y,
80s-ness. Yeah. But I think Pearl is just a flat out masterpiece. Yeah. I think that Pearl says so much about being creative, about being a woman, about living in a world where people expect a lot of you and you expect a lot of yourself. And just that scene where Mia Goth talks for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, something like that. I mean, maybe even longer.
It's longer.
But it's just on her.
Yeah.
And I remember in the theater, as it kept going, I was like, I am so engrossed. But the movie fan filmmaker in me is like, it's not cutting.
Mm-mm.
We're just because she had everything. she was it's just, it was
so
just,
good.
I get goosebumps thinking about it. So
Yeah.
phenomenal film. But yeah, I'm glad that we're diving into these.
Yeah.
This is a fun change of pace.
It is.
And I really hope anybody listening to this takes a second and checks out some of these episodes,
Yeah.
some of these feature films on Hulu or, Disney Plus with a Hulu add-on. You can find them all on there too, because they deserve a lot of love.
Yeah. And I mean, and the longest one is 93 minutes. Other than that, they're 81 to 93 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Do we have any emails this week?
Oh, that's a great question.
Hey.
I mean, I don't think so. Let me double check because I'm a professional, damn it. No.
No emails.
Wah, wah, wah.
Nobody
Sorry, kids.
likes me. It's all
Well, it happens.
my
I mean,
fault.
maybe if you did your hair up, people would like you more.
It
Davey
might be.
boy.
Who knows?
Maybe next week we'll be shocked and awed by Dave's new hairdo.
There may be a change in facial hair for that at least.
Well, that's at least a promise, I believe.
So would you like to know what we're talking about next week as we continue marching into the dark?
Hell yeah.
We are going to go with 2019's April entry, which is I'm Just Fucking With You.
This one's so weird. I'm so excited to revisit it because it's so friggin' out there.
I'm not even going to give you the synopsis. Just know that that's the title, the legit title that we are going with next week.
It's their April Fool's Day episode,
And it's wild.
and fun
Yeah.
and weird
And dark.
and it just gets weirder and darker.
Yes, it does.
So, well, gosh damn, I guess that's all we got for this week. So I do appreciate everybody joining us. Remember, if you enjoyed the show,
Yeah.
you can comment if you're watching us on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Send us an email at doyouevenmoviepod@gmail.com. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're listening to us as a podcast, make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcasting app. Leave us a 5-star rating.
Yes, please.
At either Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It
Yep.
makes a big difference in helping movie lovers find the show. And if you have a movie loving nerd friend, if you have your own Dave, first of all, thoughts and prayers. And second of all, send them our way.
Yeah.
We would love to have them join these weird conversations about esoteric bullshit.
Yes.
And talking about Dave's hair for like 12 minutes straight. We appreciate it. So, and everything else you can find us at doyouevenmovie.com.
That is correct. And also don't forget that we do take your recommendations. So if you have a movie that you want us to cover, or even, again, if you are a fan of Into the Dark and you're just like, I can't believe you guys aren't covering this one, write in. Let us know.
If we get an email about somebody's favorite Into the Dark episode and it's not one we're covering, we'll do like 20 minutes about it.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Because I'm totally down to talk about. I mean, if it was reasonable, we'd talk about them all, but it just ain't
It
reasonable.
ain't reasonable.
So
We'd have to do our own podcast.
yeah. We already did our time with our every week for a year TV show podcast.
Yeah.
So, but I guess that's it, my friends.
That
so
is.
all there's left to say is we will clone you
Next Tuesday. Nice.